Good morning, dear students. In our last lecture, we have learned the poem My Heart Leaps Up by William Wordsworth. In today's lecture, we are going to deal with the questions based upon this poem, which is probably asked in examination. See what kind of questions there are to be asked in your examination. Why does the poet heart leaps up? Is the question which naturally comes from this poem. The answer to this question is the poet is over enjoyed when he sees a rainbow in the sky. He used to enjoy looking at the rainbow in his childhood. He wants the natural continuity of this happiness up to his old age. If the natural continuation of happiness is interrupted, he rather wants to die. This is the answer to this question, why does the poet's heart leaps up? The next probable question that comes from this poem is, why does the speaker say, "Let me die"? The answer to this question will be, Wordsworth gets a bit extreme in these lines. First, he states that he hopes to continue to be mesmerized by nature well into old age. Then he says, "or let me die." The fairly unambiguous interpretation here is that the poet would rather die than find the world around him boring and bereft of beauty. This will be the answer of the question, why does the speaker say, "Let me die"? The next probable question from this poem will be, what does the poet mean by the term natural pity? The answer to this question will be, the poet Wordsworth chooses the word natural pity to express the bond he wishes to maintain with his childhood. The poet wants his days to be tied together by reverence and pity of the nature. So, it is natural for the poet to be devoted to nature. This is the answer of the question, what does the poet mean by the term natural pity? The next question from this poem is, how is Wordsworth's poem My Heart Leaps Up a romantic poem or a romantic lyric? My Heart Leaps Up is a short lyric poem by the romantic poet William Wordsworth. In this poem, the poem also appreciates the importance of carrying childlike enthusiasm and wonder throughout life, an idea that Wordsworth returns throughout much of his work. This is the answer to the question, why Wordsworth's poem My Heart Leaps Up is a romantic poem or a romantic lyric. The next question from this poem is, what is the message of My Heart Leaps Up? The message which the poem My Heart Leaps Up gives is identity. Don't get caught up in the rainbow part of My Heart Leaps Up when I behold. This poem is about the speaker's identity as much as it is about nature, even if nature is an important part of this identity. The next question based on this poem, My Heart Leaps Up, is, what type of poem is My Heart and I? The answer to this question is, My Heart and I is a dark poem in which Browning depicts the distress a newly widowed woman goes through after the death of her husband in the 19th century. During this period, women were seen as an extension of the men they married. These are the short questions based on this poem. Now we will go to the broad question based on this poem. Now, what kind of questions will be there which has to be asked in your examination? We will go through such questions. See the broad questions which has to be asked in your examination and you have to answer them in your examination are: the broad question uh, from this poem. First one is the explain the paradox, the child is the father of man. Now, what is the meaning of the child is the father of man? It is a paradox. Paradox is the figure of speech which we know. We have to interpret it and we have to analyze it from this poem. What is the meaning of the child is the father of man from this poem? In this poem, the poet William Wordsworth says the child is the father of man. He wants to say that the present is the outcome of the past. According to him, the child grows up and becomes a father. Manhood is the outcome of childhood. So, the poet says this statement. The paradox might have a different meaning. The poet might have said that the child is innocent. We can learn many things from the childhood who never lies in reality. We try to learn from father. We can also say that a man can be younger by age but maybe more matured by the mind. That is what the poet wants to express through this paradox. This is the broad question based on this poem. My heart lifts up. The child is the father of man. The next probable question which has to be asked in examination is: why does the heart of the poet lifts up when he sees a rainbow in the sky? This is the question which is probably asked in your examination. In answer to this question, we can say that the poet William Wordsworth is identified as a nature-loving poet. We all know William Wordsworth is a nature poet and he loved nature too much. He enjoys nature and natural things. The poet was the worshipper of nature. He enjoys the scenic beauty of nature. He saw the same rainbow when he was a child. It is the same as in the past. It will remain the same, but the poet will die soon. Here, the rainbow symbolizes the continuation in his life, but it is not possible. So, his heart lifts up. Such is the answer of this question, which has to be written by you in your examination. Now, these are the some small questions and some broad questions based on this poem. You are required to prepare for your examination point of view and prepare this poem for your further experience and knowledge. I think we have given 2 lectures based on this poem. I think it's enough for today. In our next lecture, we will start a new poem from your semester second syllabus. Thank you once again for being with me. Do watch the video which will be shared with you in your WhatsApp group, which will be there on YouTube. Thank you once again for being with me. Thank you.